Another way we can contribute to the oneness, rejecting false stories that are designed to separate us from Jehovah's organization. As an example, think about the apostate-driven lies and dishonesties that Jehovah's organization is permissive toward pedophiles. I mean, that is ridiculous, isn't it? If anybody takes action against someone who would threaten our young ones and takes action to protect our young ones, it's Jehovah's organization. We reject outright such lies.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. I've got my coffee, and I know it's been a while since you've seen us, and apologize. It's just been a rough year. It's really been a rough year for many of us, I know. And I want to thank everybody for cards and emails and stuff. And we appreciate it very much. I want to thank John and the others who sent me these court documents. Now, we all love the clip that I showed at the beginning of claiming that if anybody would protect children, it would be Jehovah's organization. It's not Jehovah's organization, it's Satan's organization. And he's lying through his teeth. I also mentioned earlier this year that I knew there was some horrible, some more bad CSA cases coming. And some of them have been filed. And this is one of them. It apparently happened in Brazil, but it's being filed in New York City. And I will put the link down below to the court document, the original complaint. And it's a bad one. It's really a bad one. And yeah, this is going to be a rough one. I need coffee. This was filed on November 12th, 2025, and I'm just going to go through some of this. I'm just going to call her Miss Souza, the plaintiff, against Watchtower Bible Tract Society of Pennsylvania, Watchtower Bible Tract Society of New York, and the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, another one that has learned to file against the governing body. When you read through this, it is horrible. Horrible. I know I keep saying that, but she was a 12-year-old child abused by a circuit overseer. A circuit overseer for Jehovah's Witnesses in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Senior minister entrusted with supervising multiple congregations. It's an international cover-up to protect this circuit overseer Pervo. And I know Jehovah's Witnesses aren't going to believe this because they are told by their governing body that Satan's organization is trying to destroy them and, apostate, half lies and truths, just like Let said at the beginning clip. And Jehovah's Witnesses, and even the family and the congregation that knew this was going on, they are just as culpable. Just as culpable. All right, so I just want to go through a few pages of this court document. Down on page 8, he was a new circuit overseer. I believe it's pronounced Roviso. The new circuit overseer for the region arrived in 2010. Ms. Souza, initially viewed and trusted him as a spiritual authority who could protect her and guide her. Didn't we all, as JWs? We were told to obey the elders and circuit overseers no matter what, because they were protecting our, person, our souls. He took advantage of it. I'm not going to go into details, but all I'm going to say is he raped her, he abused her, and this went on for a while. And she didn't want to be in that congregation anymore, and her family were like, oh, you're just ungrateful. her grandmother dismissed her concerns, calling her ungrateful, and forced her to continue accompanying him. Oh, what family wouldn't want their kid to be guided by a circuit overseer? Oh, wow, I was chosen to go out and service with the circuit overseer. Here on page 10 of the PDF, number B, the organization knew of prior misconduct and chose to conceal it. See, this is an ongoing pattern, and this is what all of us have been exposing. They lie to their members. They lie. Elders within the Estrada de Fonte congregation and regional overseers, which meant other circuit overseers, had received earlier warnings about Roviezo's inappropriate behavior with minors, including concerns raised by families in nearby congregations, but no protective action was taken. See, they're all culpable. Those reports were handled internally, consistent with defendants' policy that discouraged contact with secular authorities and required elders to seek branch approval before taking any disciplinary measures. The failure to intervene enabled this, I'm just going to say circuit overseer or CO, misconduct to continue unchecked. Every time Miss Souza tried to speak with an elder or another member of the congregation about the abuse she was suffering, she was met with resistance. Oh yeah, they're going to tell you to shut up and keep quiet. Just goes on. She had told someone in congregation who was a friend, Miss Souza informed Haxon that she was being sexually abused and raped by the CO. Haxon encouraged Miss Souza to inform the elders during a special meeting in Maripora, where a member of the governing body, Guy Pearce, was in Sao Paulo to supervise Jehovah's Witnesses activity in Brazil. I know I'm probably saying that, mispronouncing that. On January 29, 2012, Miss Souza informed Elder Ademir Dominguez of the assault and rape. She brought with her printed text message conversations she had with the CO, which confirmed the sexual abuse and rape. Elder Dominguez informed Miss Souza that he would investigate her allegations. Miss Souza then went to her uncle's house, who was also an elder, out of fear what the CO might do in retaliation for her complaints. Miss Souza was so anxious that her aunt gave her a sedative, and when she woke up, there were several elders in her uncle's house who were informed of the rape and assaults. So the elders took her information, they got into her MSN account and got the message, the private messages between her and the circuit overseer, and despite still being a minor, despite the overwhelming evidence confirming that the CO repeatedly and systematically abused Miss Souza, the elders directed Miss Souza to keep quiet, manipulating her and telling her that if she truly loved Jehovah and the organization, she would not speak about what happened ever again. Sound familiar? She was explicitly told by the elders to leave it in Jehovah's hands. Big surprise. And this isn't an isolated incident. This happens over and over. I've heard hundreds of these stories and read court documents, over the past 13 years. Oh. See, then it goes on to talk about how they're to call and refer it to the Watchtower Legal Department and the branch rather than the civil authorities. Those same policies cautioned elders against interviewing victims without branch approval and instructed them to maintain confidentiality to avoid bringing reproach on Jehovah's name. In accordance with these organizational rules, defendants knowingly suppressed a credible report of CSA that allowed the CO to remain in ministry and exposed Miss Souza to further trauma. Within a week, the CO was transferred to another region. That's what they do. They're not going to remove them. They're not going to report them to the police. That's what they do. They do the same thing as the Catholic Church. They bash the Catholic Church. Ever since I was a JW as a kid, of the horrible things they do, but look at what they're doing. They're doing the same thing. This is why you can't believe them. You can't believe anything coming out of their mouths. Such transfers cannot occur without explicit approval from defendant's New York headquarters, which exercises centralized authority over all ministerial appointments, removals, and reassignments worldwide. We all know that. It's headquarters that sends the circuit overseers, to all their different assignments, or removes them, or appoints them. The CO's transfer, therefore, confirms that the governing body and Watchtower leadership were aware of the allegations against the CO and actively directed the concealment of his misconduct. Plaintiff was intentionally excluded from any further information regarding the CO's ministerial status following his transfer. And then they have a few samples of the text messages between them that are pretty graphic and gross, that he's having with a minor. What is wrong with people, and what is wrong with the elders and headquarters and other circuit overseers that conceal this? I just don't understand. I cannot comprehend. They must be pervos just like them. Or, they get threatened. I don't know. There's some reason they hide this. And I'm glad to see this is all coming out now of how they hide this. And then here on page 14, paragraph 55, really sad. The little girl was removed as a regular pioneer. Yeah, she was a regular pioneer when this happened to her. And of course, they re-traumatize the abuse survivor, But yet, nothing was done to the CO. He was just moved to another region. Yeah, and did nothing to punish the actual abuser. Then rumors began to spread around the congregation that she had a consensual affair with the CO. She's 12 years old. Oh. So basically she was shunned and she tried to commit suicide. Thankfully, she didn't succeed. And then they have some samples of some more text messages between it. Page 15. Miss Souza showed the messages to the elders in her congregation, and rather than protect her, they responded, "This is what happens when you're too pretty." Really? These men, I'm not even gonna. Years later, when she was 18 years old, her aunt and uncle received anonymous letters containing conversations between Miss Souza and the CO, which clearly reflected that the CO had sexually assaulted and raping Miss Souza. When Miss Souza confided in them what happened, they were rightfully aghast. They encouraged her to go to the police where she submitted a police report. She then started receiving death threats from members of the congregation threatening to kill her if she pursued the matter further. Oh, good Christians. See, they're not Christians. They're not following, their head of the congregation, Jesus, at all. At all. On page 16, paragraph 64, numerous witnesses submitted sworn statements to the police in July of 2017, including Miss Souza's aunt, her sister, and then they list some other family friends, her uncle and her grandmother. Each attested under oath that the circuit overseer raped and sexually assaulted Miss Souza while she was a minor. And I forgot to read the part in here where when she was 13, she actually got pregnant. And she did everything she could to try to abort the baby. And it looks like she was out in field service and she had a miscarriage. And nobody took her to the hospital. Nobody knew. Poor kid. I can't imagine being this age and suffering all of this and a miscarriage and nobody there to help you. The aunt and uncle who were trying to help her and bring this out and try to get her to file with the police, guess what happened to them? 2 elders showed up and stripped them of their privileges in the congregation. Imagine that. Oh, big surprise. Horrible. Number 103, here at the bottom. As a result of the foregoing, plaintiff is entitled to compensatory and punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial, but in no event less than $100 million, together with attorney's fees and costs. Miss Souza, if you ever see this video, or if any friends of hers, tell her about this, I wish her the best. I hope she wins. And I hope she gets every penny she can. And all you other survivors who have lawsuits against Watch Hour, I hope you get every penny you can. Bleed them dry. Bleed them dry. So that's it. And like I said, I will have the link down below to this court document. And I appreciate all of you watching. We really appreciate it. And we're still around. We're still around. I've just, been taking a break. Like I said, it's been a rough year for us, like many. I know many have had a rough year. It's been a rough year for many. And hopefully the new year will be better. And if I don't see you before then, happy holidays. Bye.